Hello everyone, and welcome to this presentation with Alcadon and CEO Sonny Mirborn. My name is Eric Castle, I'm an analyst here at ABG. Unfortunately, we won't be able to see Sonny. We had some minor technical difficulties, but we can hear him at least. And Sonny will give a 20-minute presentation, and we'll do a short Q&A after. So with the limited time, I won't steal any more of it. So please go ahead, Sonny.
Thank you, Eric. I'm glad to be here. Over a little bit to discuss Alcadon. We are a developer and a distributor of professional network infrastructure systems and products. Our systems consists mostly of passive products, fiber and copper cable based. These type of systems and products enable basically digitalization and IoT and industrial automation, for example. Change slide, please. Normally, you don't see our systems every day. You find them behind the walls of, for example, data centers, offices, hospitals. You'll also find them below ground, or underground or above ground, linking together cities and properties. Basically, you could say that our products make sure that data communication works and functions properly, as we try to make visible here with the red lines in a normal society. Change slide, please. Today, we operate in 4 business areas. All of them highly related, of course, to network infrastructure. The first one, commercial networks, is our largest and most important business area today. This is where we have had and still have a leading market position in the premium segment. And the products and systems we see here are, as I mentioned, copper and fiber based. It's mostly passive, but also some active products. A very important part here is ECS, which is our own structured cabling systems, which we use for data centers, industry, hospital, offices, or basically any commercial property that you might find. And our offer here is complete. It's a turnkey solution where we have all the products needed for a complete system of data communication. Our second largest business area is fiber networks, or FTTX. This is where we offer fiber and ducts and systems that enable data communication and data transfer between properties, between cities. These are the products you normally find below ground or above ground. It's for wide area networks, city and operator networks. And most of our customers here are energy companies and operators, often through installers that often come between. This is the business area that's most highly affected by 3G rollout, the 4G rollout, broadband, and the coming 5G rollout. So this is where you'll see the volumes ending up, so to speak, in Alcadon. Residential networks. This is our third largest area with 18% or close to 20% of our turnover. Here we offer a complete system for smart connected homes. We offer systems for both data and electricity, and we also offer products for communication via satellite. So it's a rather new business area for us. We have a rather low market share today, but we have experienced the last few years quite substantial growth, and we see great opportunities to grow in this area as well. Here we do not only offer our own structured cabling system, ECS, or European cabling systems, but we also offer our system developed for residential properties called DC line. Our smallest business area is services and training. This is an area kitting together the larger business areas. This is where we offer training courses, ECS certification courses. We have today, for example, over 4,000 installers across the Nordics who are certified in using ECS because they have gone through a training program which they have also paid for. And this, of course, creates some kind of stickiness, loyalty to Alcadon. We also offer rental of different types of equipment, fiber-related equipment, and we also sell tools in this business area. We'll switch slide, please. We have been around since 1988, and I think it's important to know also that we have not only taken part of, but we've been a leading player in all technological shifts in our market since the beginning of the 90s. And we've been a listed company since 2016. Now, the years after 2016 up until now, we've been characterized a lot by acquisitions, of course. In 2017, we acquired Data Connect and Svagström's Material in Sweden. And in 2018, we made a larger acquisition in Norway with Cablecom. Now, these acquisitions have, of course, been quite transformative for Alcadon. They have enabled us to take a further leap in our market. We had cross-selling synergies and cost synergies, but we also added a lot of competence into our group. And we also took a further step in developing our product portfolio with new partnerships and new important suppliers for us. It's also important to understand that in 2017 and 2018, we had a very strong FTTH or broadband market. And in 2019, or end of 2018 actually, a lot of the larger players in the market realized that it was a little bit more expensive than they anticipated in rolling out fiber in the countryside, particularly in Sweden. This made a lot of players halting their investments somewhat, and it of course affected Alcadon since we had a major share of the fiber rollout in Sweden. Now, during this year, we started an efficiency program when myself and our new CFO assumed office, and our intention of doing that was to enhance our efficiency in the group, but also to realize the synergies that we should realize from the acquisitions that we made in 2017 and 18. Due to the market being very aggressive in those 2 years, some of these realization of synergies halted a bit. But now we took care of that in 2019. It should also be mentioned that despite this year being quite difficult for us, we still managed to maintain profitability, a healthy profit level, and a strong cash flow, which we're quite proud of. This year, we have done a lot of things. We strengthened the organization substantially. We also have a new centralized logistics unit in Sweden, where we went from 3 warehouses, central warehouses, to 1 outside of Stockholm. And we also started a partnership with Siemens for industrial networks. Perfect. Next slide, please. Today, we have a rather well-established Nordic footprint with a focus on Sweden, of course, but also in Norway. We have our own stores and local small warehouses in almost every place where we are situated today to be able to serve our customers very well. But we also have distributor solutions in Finland and Denmark to be able to support our pan-Nordic customers in a strong way. Next slide, please. I think that one of the questions I often get about Alcadon is how our business model look like, and I would say that it has not changed much the last 25 years. It's quite proven. It's quite obvious for our customers how it works, but for an investor it might be more difficult to understand sometimes. I think the most important thing here is that 30% of our turnover is based on systems and products which we have developed in-house under the brand names ECS and DC Line. They are market adapted. They provide us with, you could say, a uniqueness in the market since they are highly adapted to our customers' needs. But we also have a more traditional distributor approach where we distribute products from globally renowned manufacturers who are close partners of ours. Most of them we had a relationship with for more than 20 years. And they invest, in some cases, hundreds of millions of dollars in R&D every year. So by having these very close partnerships, we make sure that we do not miss an opportunity in the market in terms of a product launch or being flexible in terms of reaching all technological shifts in the market. It's also important to say that with our own developed systems, we don't have any own manufacturing. All our manufacturing is outsourced. We have partners handling that for us across the world. And the reason why we have done that is that the market, the global market for production of the components of a structured cabling system is highly competitive. So it's no use for us, or it's a great opportunity for us to find strong partners in the production of these components. Otherwise, I think it's important to say that everything we do is to remain a competence center within our area, network infrastructure. We have developed obvious, clear concepts of structured cabling systems, solutions for data centers, 5G, industry networks. And we put great pride in having all of our employees being on a very high competence level when it comes to network infrastructure, to be the market leader in this area. When it comes to our customer base, I can say now, because we're going to move on to the next slide soon where we talk a little bit more about the customers, but I can say that our customers are mostly made up of installers, small and mid-sized installers, but we also sell to operators, municipalities, and energy companies, of course. Next slide, please. These are some examples of some of our customers, but it's a very fragmented customer base. We have over 2,800 active customers today. When I say active, we mean that they purchase from Alcadon at least on a quarterly basis. And a very, very large share of these customers have done so for more than 15 or 20 years. So it's a very high degree of customer loyalty from our perspective. We also feel that we're not dependent on any single customer. I think the largest customer right now constitutes about 4.5% or between 4 and 5% of our turnover. But otherwise, as I mentioned, it's operators, data centers, small and mid-sized installers, integrators, and property developers that are part of our customer structure. Next slide, please. Looking at the competition or the marketplace for Alcadon, you have, on one hand, you have more traditional wholesalers, such as Ahlsell and Rexel, for example. They offer a very wide product range. They are mostly a logistical partner, and that's where their main competence is, and they do this really well. But they offer very often products in network infrastructure, besides electrical installation products and sometimes VVS products as well. On the other hand, niche distributors, most often they represent 1 or 2 or maybe 5 foreign or global manufacturers in their respective marketplace, such as Sweden or Norway or perhaps the Nordics. They have a more narrow product range. They have a very high competence, specialized competence, and they focus on distribution capabilities alone. Alcadon Group is definitely a niche distributor, very focused on network infrastructure and our global partnerships or global partners. But with the difference that we offer in-house developed systems and market adapted solutions such as ECS and DC line, I think this combination that offers both this flexibility and uniqueness in the market is quite rare. I haven't still found a company similar to Alcadon in Sweden and Norway, at least. But it's a very nice market position for us, where we focus on distribution and product development, and we sell directly to installers or end customers and not through traditional wholesalers, which is very often the case for a distributor. Move on to the next slide, please. If we speak about the market drivers for Alcadon, it's 2 things, basically: data volumes in general and the construction activity. And if we look at data volumes, I think terms such as Internet of Things or smart industry, smart homes, services on demand, haven't bypassed anyone. You all know about that, and the implication are immensely increased data volumes every year, over 30, sometimes 50% growth per year the last 4 or 5 years. The implication of this is that you need storage capacity for data. When you talk about storage of data, you talk about cloud solutions, and a cloud solution is basically a data center. And the data center growth is expected to continue the next few years. I think the last figure I saw was that we will see a double increase of the amount of investments made in the Nordics the next 5 years. So it's quite a substantial opportunity for us where we have a strong position today within our field. But we also see that for the proper transfer of data to occur in a good way, you need fiber. You need a lot of fiber. First of all, you need fiber to the home network, and looking at Sweden and Norway alone, you have more than 30%. I think in Norway's case, you had more than 40% of investments remaining to conduct a proper fiber rollout in line with the government targets. So it's quite substantial investments being made the next few years there as well. But for society to take next step in adopting Internet of Things and Industry 4.0 properly, you need a 5G rollout. You definitely need a 5G rollout. If we going to understand, if you should understand how much fiber you talk about when you talk about 5G, you need to understand the difference between 5G and 4G, because in 5G you need a lot higher density in base stations or in cells, because the coverage area of each base station is much shorter than with a 4G station. And each base station or cell needs a lot of fiber. So when you talk about 5G compared to 4G, depending on which report you read, depending on which geographical market you look at, where the 5G rollout has actually occurred to a larger extent than in the Nordics, you can see that with 5G we need about 5 to 16 times more fiber than with 4G. If you compare it to FTTH or the broadband rollout instead, you talk about 2 to 6 times more fiber. So it's a lot of fiber needed, and we expect this, of course, to benefit Alcadon a lot, since we have had a very strong position in all previous fiber rollouts in our markets. The other part that affects Alcadon is the construction activity in general. We are present in most type of properties being built. It doesn't matter if it's infrastructure, industry, public sector, or housing. Our products are needed and utilized in most of these type of buildings. And we are also present in both the renovation, new construction, and reconstruction market. And we see a very strong market here going forward the next few years as well. In connection with the increased data volumes in society, you can see also that you need to upgrade networks, especially in commercial properties, to be able to fully adopt the potential of increased data volumes and the capacity that is needed. Next slide, please. Looking at our ownership, we have some long-term owners. I know several of them have increased their ownership stake in Alcadon the last 12 months, which we're happy for, of course. But one thing that makes us really proud is that the employees of Alcadon, a lot of them have a significant share of Alcadon shares. And today it's over 10% that is owned by the employees. Becomes somewhat more if you count in the board of directors as well, of course. I think the board of directors is very well balanced today. The two latest additions here is Marie Ygge and Lars Engström. They bring significant industrial expertise from having had leading positions in large companies such as Microsoft, IBM, Munters. We also have today a very well balanced group management team, I would say. We have more than 100 years of combined experience in the network infrastructure industry. We have individuals from our major acquisitions. We have individuals who have worked for Alcadon for a very, very long time. And we have some new additions, especially myself, our CFO and our Chief Sales Officer who recently joined the team. Thank you. Next slide, please. Looking at how we performed so far this year, you could say that if we look at January to September, we have some effect on sales partly due to the pandemic, but also due to the currency rates between the Norwegian crown and the Swedish crown. With unchanged currency levels, sales remained particularly flat, you could say. And we also were affected a little bit by our move to one central warehouse from 3 central warehouses in Sweden, of course. But overall, we managed to increase our gross margins, particularly in Q3, which is a project that we have had ongoing for almost a year now. And that in combination with reduced operating expenses in the group made us reach an EBIT growth of over 30% this year, which we are quite happy about. And we also managed to achieve close to 10% in EBIT margin. But as you can see also during the full year in 2019, we managed to stay profitable. And we also, as I mentioned, managed to hold a significantly strong cash flow, which we're very happy about, of course. Next slide, please. Looking at our key ratios, you can see that we have a strong solidity. We worked also a lot on improving our net working capital management. And by doing that, we improved cash flow in 2020. We also, of course, by doing that, managed to lower our debt levels. So we have remained a financially solid and healthy company. And we have managed to increase as well our return on equity, which we're happy about. Next slide, please. Now we are moving on more from working on efficiency, gross margins, and establishing a strong management team to work with initiatives for growth. First of all, we're working a lot with our sales organization, with our structure, with our leadership, improving our sales support, but we're also working a lot with our product development. Our own products and systems are important for us, and especially in order to remain being a competence center, we have to focus a lot of resources on this. We also look at both our existing growth segments and new segments, having detailed plan on how to put together interesting product portfolios and attack these market segments in a very good way the next coming years. And of course, acquisitions remain an important priority for us and will remain so the next coming years as well. So next slide. I think I'm finished there with the presentation. I hope it was for your satisfaction.
Very good. Thank you very much, Sonny. So we're a bit tight on time, but I thought I would at least get to ask one question for you. And it's no secret that you have a background from AdTech, and for those unfamiliar with AdTech, they acquire a lot of companies, and this is on the agenda, as you said, for Alcadon as well. And with the financial leverage coming down, I guess we could see something happening in the near term. So could you perhaps just give us a short comment on your acquisition agenda, how much you could acquire, and do you have an active pipeline with something coming up?
Yeah, we definitely have an active pipeline. Today we're looking at several companies ranging from 20 to 200 million SEK in turnover. Right now we have a number of ongoing discussions, and we feel that we can afford to really do some cherry picking and hope to be able to announce something interesting rather soon. These companies are both in our existing geographical markets, but also new ones. I would also say that most of the targets are conducting their business in at least one of our existing business areas. So it's fair to say that we know the business rather well of all our targets. Generally speaking, we seek acquisitions where we can see strong benefits for the group, of course, cross-selling synergies, cost synergies, or adding customer or partner relations that would benefit us going forward.
All right, thank you very much, Sonny. Perfect answer, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you buy. So in 1 minute, I think we will return with Aristity. And thank you very much, Sonny, and thank you everyone listening in as well.
Thank you very much.